Hello, everyone. My name is Jan Burcham, and we'll be talking about understanding teacher leadership in this short video. First of all, think about what is your own definition of teacher leadership. Just take a moment to reflect. You might even want to jot down what your definition is of teacher leadership at this point. When you finish that, move on to the next slide. In our text, Ariel Sachs, an 8th grade teacher, says, being a teacher leader means sharing and representing relevant and key ideas of our work as teachers in contexts beyond our individual classrooms, so as to improve the education of our students and our ability to provide it for them. Teacher leadership has been around a long time. It's beginning to emerge as a stronger and more prevalent presence in the field of education. The only way we know to ensure change, research tells us, is that professional development needs to include follow-up coaching and support. And the teacher leadership role is one way that follow-up coaching and support is being provided in many schools. At this point, the research also shows us that there are 3 obstacles that must be overcome. First of all, the structure of the school and the system. The second, the shift from old norms of teaching and isolation. And the third, teachers must be empowered to know that they can lead. We'll talk about each of these. First of all, sometimes teachers are hesitant to lead. Does the culture of your school at this point encourage you to lead? Do some things need to change? Many times schools are seen as top-down organizations where the administrator, perhaps the principal, or a coach, curriculum coach, or an assistant principal is the one who's in charge of what's happening with teaching and learning. So the culture of your school may need to modify or evolve so that teachers can also be seen as leaders. Sometimes teachers don't feel they have the skills to lead. That's often true with teachers early in their careers, or maybe some who haven't had much experience with leading. There also exists a norm that all teachers should be viewed as being equal. And so some professionals don't want to draw attention to themselves, to step out as leaders because they fear that the reaction of their peers may be negative. Katzenmeier and Mahler, the authors of one of our textbooks, define teacher leadership in the following ways. Teacher leaders lead within and beyond their own classrooms. That's an important point since you will be developing expertise in this program both within your own field of study as well as in leadership. Teacher leaders also identify with and contribute to a greater community, a community of other teacher learners and other teacher leaders. Teacher leaders also influence others toward improving their own practice. It's not always your job as a teacher leader to fix something for someone else, but it is part of your job to help influence them so that they can improve their own teaching and their students' learning. Finally, teacher leaders accept the responsibility for achieving their leadership. You stick with someone until that improvement that is needed is realized. So to lead within and beyond the classroom, the first thing is you must be competent in your own classroom. You must be perceived as being capable, as being highly effective, and this is most often earned by what you do, what others see you doing and achieving with your students, rather than the assigned title or role that you've been given. You must avoid being pulled into administrative work. Teacher leadership is not the administrator of the building or the school. So it's important that you stick to that everything you're doing relates to the improving of teaching and learning. You also have a lot of influence where you influence others informally through your discussions, through sharing your ideas, holding professional development, or asking others to join you in your classroom, come observe. You can be a great influence on others in many informal ways. You want to contribute to the community of learners and leaders. You can work to develop communities of practice or professional learning communities. There's a lot of literature out there on developing professional learning communities, and these can be some of the strongest ways to achieve change in a school. You also want to reach outside your school to a wider community. Other schools can be involved, other agencies, families, social needs areas, all kinds of things can be a help to you in your work. You want to learn how to build alliances and networks to accomplish your work. As the saying goes, everything's always better in teams. So it's great to develop those networks to help you achieve what you're trying to accomplish. To motivate others, you want to influence them. We said you can do that in many ways. You want to build relationships, get to know people, find out what they're doing, honor the things that others do well, and you also want to be a continuous learner yourself. To accept responsibility for achieving outcomes, you want to assume accountability for the results of what you're doing. You want to follow through on your commitments. If you say you're going to do something or help someone or get them some resource, you want to make sure to do that. You want to resolve concerns. Set that as a goal. To do that, you want to gather data to support the need for the change that you're promoting. Engage with like-minded colleagues. One of the best things you can do is find others who believe the same way you do and work with them. Try to secure resources to make the change. You may be able to do that by getting lots of free resources or things that are already available. You also may need to write grants. There are all kinds of things you can do. And follow through develops trust. That's an important thing. You know that trust is earned, so you have to follow through on what you say you're going to do in order for others to trust that you mean what you say and will do it. So the question becomes, are you ready? Are you ready to embark on the journey to become a teacher leader? Remember that you must be competent, you must be credible, and you must be approachable. At this time, you want to look at the Teacher Leadership Readiness Instrument. It's in our text. There's also a downloadable form. Complete that Teacher Leader Readiness Instrument to see where you are at this point in time. Don't worry if you are not as high as you'd like those numbers to be. That's okay. This is a learning process, so it's not about what you score, but about determining for yourself where you are and then improving in the areas where you need more growth and then celebrating those things that are your strength. Once you finish that, upload it in the assigned Dropbox on our website and then reflect on your results in our discussion thread. Looking forward to continuing to work with you on this journey.